talking. So we're doing our best. We're sorry.
But we do try and talk over each other, of course, as well.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Just on a very serious note, David Richards has sent a message through asking just to pass this on to everybody. But most of you who've been with us all day will know we had a dreadful accident only a few minutes into the race, and Alan Simonson lost his life at Tertre Rouge when his Aston Martin crashed. And David Richards, the boss of Aston Martin, asked us to pass on to all fans and viewers the thanks of Aston Martin Racing for their support, and explained that Alan's parents did urge the team to keep racing in his honour, and this year's race is very much going to be run in memory of Alan by the team's organisers, fans, and hopefully all you viewers. So that's the line from Aston Martin. Thank you for that, David, and just brings back a sombre note. Just we remember this shadow is going to hang over this year's Le Mans.
Well, I think we all heartily concur. As we said a little earlier, Joe Gartner was the last man to die in a race here at Le Mans. That was back in 1987, and I know some friends, very close friends of his, and that hurt never goes away. This is a sport that brings enormous joy to many, many people, and just occasionally it takes an enormous amount out of us as well, and it's very, very hard. You know, his family here, he leaves a wife and a baby daughter behind him, and it's a dreadful thing to happen, and unfortunately, yeah, the world keeps turning, and there are people who said, well, you know, you should pull out of the race, but at the specific request of his family, the Aston Martin team are doing what they can to make this, at least to somehow slightly honour the memory of Alan Simonson. He's got a lot of friends in the field. He's got a lot of friends watching. He's got friends in the booth with us, with Damien Faulkner, who raced with and against him over the years. And it does take a lot for a team to pick themselves up when something like that has happened so early in the race, and to give it their all, because it's just a dreadful, dreadful situation. So,
and very hard for the drivers as well. Yeah. I know a lot of these drivers are really struggling. It's very difficult to realise something like that has happened on the track that you're racing on at the same time. And you know, I know that everybody here will be racing with his memory and be racing for him, and I think that's what he would have wanted. And
in fact, a lot of drivers I know who have Twitter followers, they will have realised that drivers who were in the cars earlier on didn't find out until 3, 4, 5 hours into the race that the accident had in fact claimed Alan's life. So our very, very sincerest condolences to his family, to his friends, and hopefully some joyful memories as well of him. You know, in the end, you try and remember the good times, and he had many of them. He was leading the race, doing what he loved to do, having set the fastest lap time with the car, and doing the very best he could in his life. And so that's the way we'll remember him. And the Aston Martin team, as David Richards said, will continue to race on in his memory, and with him very much in their hearts and their thoughts.
I do feel as if we should have a minute of silence at some point for him,
Yeah.
I just feel that would be correct.
Car off in the gravel, as that is... Is that the 32 Lotus? You see now, cars change at night because they have reflective panelling that doesn't always reflect the shape of the car. We're not being told who it is, just where it is, which is at Mulsanne Corner. Massive gravel trap there now to protect the cars from going onto the roundabout. And car 34, so it's not in fact the second Lotus.
That is, yeah, the number 34 car is the Ulrika of Nierhausen, who in fact had just done his 2 fastest sector times before that, which may indicate why he's just gone off in the gravel.
This is a fraction too fast.
Perhaps. But it looks like he'd taken out some bollards as well, and it was pretty good off. So we'll wait to see where we are with that.
Well, you know, it's a very, very long straight, and it did slightly appear to... Oh, my goodness, there's the corner. Of course, they are a little bit more well-trained than that, and he's spent a lot of time on track. Well, he's done a lot of laps already in the race, Patrick Niederhauser. So that all-Swiss team, there is the car being towed out of the gravel trap. Hard standing, this dark area here is tarmac, so hopefully once he gets there, he should get it fired up and then spread gravel all the way back to the pits.
Yeah, I was about to say, the unfortunate thing about that is as he comes back, he's going to spread gravel across the circuit. no matter how hard he will obviously try not to go on the line, sometimes you have to. There's no way around it. And that's what happens at Le Mans. The longer you get into a 24-hour race, the more there is just debris all over the circuit that becomes part of the racing line. And you just have to embrace it and bring it into how you drive the car.
Marcel Fassler in the pit lane.
Yeah, he has still not got past Natasha Gashnang, in as much he hasn't unlapped himself from her yet. So he is still 11 laps behind race leader Tom Christensen. We just saw, didn't we, Luca Di Grassi make his stop.
Lucas Di Grassi.
Yep. At the moment, both those Audis up front, the number 2 and the number 3 car, have made 13 stops against Toyota's 12 and 11. So we're starting to see the benefits of that extra 3 litres that Toyota, as a petrol runner, are being given. Except they're not in front yet. So it's going to play out over. Well, I mean, it has to play out over 24 hours, and that was their chance, really, wasn't it, to try and make that work. Lots of people asked about the Audi pit stops. You see the, quote, driver helper opening the door and swapping over 2 bottles. It is a pressurized system with a drinks bottle. At least one of them is. Not sure that both of them are. They may be. I have to say, I haven't asked that specific question. We might get a chance maybe if Liz or Jeremy return from the pit lane or go down to the pit lane just to ask that question. But certainly it's a drink system. Normally the oil and water systems are also very highly pressurized in these cars because the temperatures they have to sustain, but they're not normally filled up inside the cockpit. You don't want either the oil or the water system leaking into the driver's enclosure, so they're kept separate. And the 88 car is in the gravel, and that is Gianluca Roda. Very good.
Oh, don't try and get
gentleman
out.
driver. Well, he's dug himself in a little bit, and he is down at Marshall's post 76, which is also. Oh, he's not down at Marshall's post 76. Where's he gone off there? Oh,
There's
more
bollards out as well. I wonder.
It's a load of bollards.
Wow, it is.
Back up, open, wider, wider, wider. Dunlop. 13, 14, 15. Dunlop. Oh no, it's
no.
It's right. It's the S's.
The bottom of the S's on the way to Tete Rouge.
That's the end of the S's.
How
indeed.
has he done that? Do you know, there's a
change for the lead in the class as well.
There is a big bump there as you come out of the S's, a big bump, and I wonder if he's just lost that.
Gianluca Roda was the leader in the Felbermeyer Proton Porsche. It is now the Dempsey Del Piero Proton Porsche that takes the AM lead. Dr. Gorgeous is Dr. Leader.
Wow, he's going to be loving that right now. Very exciting. I think a lot of his fans are going to be going mental in the stands right now.
I very much fear we're going to get safety car number 6 because of this, unless they can get unless they can get a little tractor in and tow him out quickly, because this is a very tricky place. It's one corner after Tracy Krone's accident, isn't it? And,
I see a tractor coming. There it is. Yep. Lights in the background. The tractor is coming down. We have a Boy Scout coming in. That's very handy. Classification after 9 hours. Merci bien. Super. So see, we're very well looked after here. Girl Guides, Liz, and Boy Scouts. Absolutely.
Wow.
Hey.
Don't get that everywhere, do you?
Indeed you don't. So now what they'll be doing is looking for, hopefully, the very obvious place tow hooks so they don't rip the front off the car.
Well, the trouble is the tow hook's about 3 feet under the gravel at the moment, so they're going to have to dig down to it.
Well, normally they're not. Normally they are just below headlight height, and you can see it there.
I can see it there,
protruding out of the thing, because if you have them down at the splitter, they tend to get in the way a lot.
And this is going to put even more gravel on the circuit. What a mess it's going to be. I hope if we do get a safety car, I hope they're going to clean the circuit up a little bit. We can only hope.
Well, you've got to say thank you to the hard-working marshals. I tell you what, they have been really hard-pressed this week. It's been a very fraught time for them. 7 red flag incidents in 4 practice and qualifying sessions. This is our... Well, it's another incident. We've had 5 safety cars already, Mark, so we really don't want any more. We've still got 14 and a half hours nearly to get through, so we've got nowhere near halfway yet.
And that's a pretty big number of safety cars at this stage in the race, because really, relatively, in a 24-hour race, we aren't very far in at all. No. It just seems like everyone's been up for hours.
Yeah, we've only got 6 Formula 1 Grand Prix left to go.
Jamie Campbell-Walter pitting there. I think he's still in the car, if I'm not mistaken.
That's him.
Looks like they're just going to do fuel and send him down the road, I think. Or they
will
checking
normally
the brakes there, maybe going to check tire pressures, just checking underneath the car. I think probably because there's so much debris on the circuit, perhaps he's run something over and he's just radioed in and said, guys, just have a quick look when I stop for fuel. That's straight back out. Good pit stop.
Right-hand front headlights not on. They will have standard checks. They'll use a laser temperature gauge to measure brake and tyre temperatures as a matter of course, just to make sure that the telemetry's not missed anything. Right front headlight is on.
It is on.
Didn't look like it when it was under the lights.
But have you noticed that they're running these sort of rally spotlights right in the centre, in front of the central radiator? Looks quite retro, doesn't it, Liz?
It does look pretty cool, I think.
Got to have some CBA Super Oscars.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, early 1970s 911s that did used to have separate spotlights on the bumper, didn't they?
And somebody did ask us on Twitter a little while ago. I'm afraid I can't remember who it was, so please tweet me back if you do, because I've had too many. Asking if the lights on the race cars were better than your road car, and I would definitely say yes. Certainly on that car we just saw go past, the Aston Martin, and on the front-running LMP cars. And I think nowadays most of them will be a lot better. You'd be surprised how good the lighting is out there. You're still in the dark, you're still going a lot faster than you would on the road, but the lights are very, very good these days.
Well, it's all LED, of course, now, isn't it?
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it makes a huge difference. You're very right, Mark.
Just want to say hello to 12-year-old Harry Johnson, who's sitting up watching. Is it not past his bedtime? Quarter to 12, 20 to 12.
It's Le Mans weekend. You can't go to bed at 12.
No, I think Susie's letting him stop. It's not a school night. Yeah, go for it, Harry. Enjoy your evening. Welcome back to 2013 Le Mans 24 Hours, 90th anniversary of the Le Mans race and the 30th anniversary of my first trip down to the south. If you've never been, how easy is it to get here? Well, you can phone a travel company. I came with Page & Moy. Other travel companies are available. They'll do an all-in package for you. You can come down, sleep in a coach or a field or whatever, and do it really on the cheap. To get into the circuit, €34 for a general admission ticket, and that's not per day. That's for a general admission ticket for all the days action here. So you can get in very cheaply, and you can do anything from real budget, bring a tent, come with some friends in a car, sleep in a field, in a hedgerow, whatever else, and sort of scale yourself up from there. It is very, very easy. Get in a car, go on the tunnel, go on a ferry, get to France, 4 hours from the coast. It is one of the most ludicrously easy major events of any kind to participate in. It's not like trying to get a ticket for the Grand Prix. It's not like trying to get into the Indy 500. It's about as difficult as getting into Sainsbury's. If you've never been and you're watching this for the first time and wonder what it's like, Mark, should they come?
Oh, yeah, if you leave now, you should be here at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Well, no, just get to watch the end.
I didn't actually mean that, but if you left now from the south of England before midnight, yes, you would be here easily in time for lunch and to watch the end of the race. But if you're thinking about coming next year, come next year.
Yep.
Don't sit and watch. There are so many people that come with a group of friends, and it gets bigger and bigger every year because it is the most fun you can have in a week that's probably still legal in most states.
Just looking at the art car for this year's Le Mans, really fantastic design. I know Carlson thinks it looks a bit like a pizza, but actually it's a really interesting concept. I think this is the first time ever they've actually done an actual art car, not the race car, but a car that was designed of the shape of the LMP2, made all out of old road signs, which is really, really cool. There's a book of it that I've seen. I will dig up the artist's name. I'm afraid that my brain is failing because I haven't slept for a really long time.
Fernando Costa.
There we go, Fernando Costa. Thank you, Mark. But fantastic artist. I've had a look at his book, and really, really impressive, and a great idea. And I love the way the team has really embraced it, and as the helmets matching and everything, it's very cool. So I hope you'll enjoy seeing it.
Number 28 car in the garage, and it's not always a bad thing when cars are pulled back into the garage. We touched on earlier the fact you're only allowed 2 people working on any car at any time in the pit lane, so if you need anything doing at all, it goes back into the garage. For the number 28 car, the fact that people are even looking at it is quite a good thing, because it has done a total of 21 laps now.
76 car coming in then, IMSA Performance Matmut. This is their new car, or their newer car, 2012 spec. Apparently the other car's 2011 spec, which the team says is much easier to work on and much easier to dial in. But Raymond Narak, Christophe Bourret and Jean-Carl Vernet. Now, he was Peugeot's test driver for many years during that program, but would you believe has never raced here, so he's a rookie.
Wow, that's unbelievable. And we do have quite a few rookies here that have incredible racing talent that are here for the first time, and we've just seen on our screen, Race Control reports oil.
Pardon?
That might possibly have been...
My guess is the warning for the oil is what they're getting.
Stefan Sarrazin.
And in the Porsche curves, oh my, that's really not good at all.
That is the fastest changes of direction consistently on the circuit anywhere, the Porsche curves. And so that's really where you don't want it. We're on the second chicane on the Mulsanne straight. And there is a Ferrari 458, one of the fastest road cars money can buy, dusted off like it was in reverse gear by these prototypes.
Well, the car in front is a Toyota. So.
Indeed, well, it is now. And it's a hybrid. Second and third, the Toyotas. They were running 4th and 5th behind the top 3 Audis until Audi started to run into problems. One healthy Audi at the top of the field. Tom Christensen shares the car with Alan McNish.
Just seeing him exiting Mulsanne corner there. He'll soon be approaching the Porsche curves where we have the oil reported. I'm not sure exactly where it is. We've not seen any pictures of that, but really one of the worst places to have oil, especially at night as well.
Well, the next question, who might have dropped it?
Well, I don't know. We may find out if somebody comes in. It might not be beyond the bounds possibility. The 28 car came back in because of that. Stop-and-go penalty being awarded to car number 13 for speeding in the pit lane. That's the unlucky Rebellion car of Andrea Bellicchi, Matthias Besch and Kung Fu Chang. And it is... Andrea Bellicchi who's at the wheel, so don't know if they changed last time round. Often the driver that didn't commit the offence leaving the pit lane is the one who has to serve it, because the guy who was coming in just came in a little hot and forgot to press the speed retarding button at the right time.
And
35 struggles to leave. We have had a couple of pit lane speeding incidents, haven't we?
Yeah, no, we have had quite a lot, especially in practice and qualifying, more so than you would have thought, really, because they all have a pit speed limiter. Normally, as you enter pit lane, you push the button, leave it there through a driver change, and that way, as you exit the pit lane, the pit limiter is already on, and then you push the button as you leave. So it seems like it should keep that from happening.
Well, I'm sure the radar guns are being properly calibrated. Anyway, Patrick Niederhauser in the number 34 Oreca that we were talking about a little bit earlier. He was in the top 6 battle in the LMP2 class, and that car has dropped right down the order. The race performance car, one of the majority of the LMP2 cars are running on Dunlop tyres. That race performance car, like I say, was up in the top half dozen. Shares with Michel Frey and Jeroen Blekemolen, but Niederhauser still on pit road, and it's been there for a long while now. It's made 13 stops compared to the average of 12 in the class. It's having a bit of a remedial work for something or other.
Just listen to the glorious sound of this V8 Vantage. Rob Bell, he's still the GP Pro class leader, and you can just really hear it. We did on the early ones, but it's gone now. But
just nearly hear it until they turn away from it.
Well, that's what they do to us, isn't it?
Yeah, yet again, it's not our decision what we see.
In comes the 71 car, 4th in category still. Jimmy Bruni bought that car. No, this is the 71 car, sorry. The other one, that's Tony Villander's car.
Liz, Tom Wilkinson on Twitter wanted to know, will we have women at Le Mans in the future? Well,
we've had them all the time.
Liz has raced here. We've got 2 in the race this weekend. Keiko Ihara, although her car hasn't done many laps, and she hasn't been in it. We've got a Natasha Gachnang as well. We've had all-women crews. We've had a number of women racing drivers. And in fact, we had a question earlier on from an 11-year-old girl who wanted to know how to get into sports car racing. I think
we told her.
We did. There's absolutely no reason at all why women can't be racing in sports car racing right at the top level. I mean, it's a great place to earn a living as a racing driver.
I think as long as you respect the fitness levels that it requires and you commit yourself to that, then there's no reason why women can't be successful, and we've seen women be successful.
Yep.
I've had people saying, when are we going to see an all-women team in Le Mans? Well, we've had them before. We've had them twice, I believe, now. At least twice. And one of those recent occasions was in 2010. Natasha Gachnang, who's here today, was part of that team. It didn't go very well for them, if I'm honest. She ended the race with a fire in the car.
Yeah.
But it certainly has happened before, and I hope it happens again.
Well, in fairness, again, that was nothing to do with the girls. That was all to do with the newness of the Ford GT, which was A, not really fixed, and B, not really competitive. So, I mean, and neither of the Mark VDS Ford GTs actually fared really well at all. So
no, it certainly wasn't their fault.
It was, certainly no way to cast any blame for that on either of the driving crews, male or female. There was actually an email from a lady who, and I'm afraid now, tweets, we get so many coming in, we're sort of skipping through them to try and cover as many interesting points as we can. She said, I'm 62 years old, I would like to race at Le Mans. What is the greatest age of a Le Mans driver? Now, I would think in the modern era, you're right about on the extreme limit of kind of the oldest gentleman drivers, and there are female gentleman drivers as well, racing as well. So it's a term rather than, it's a bit like Hoover, it's a generic, okay? It's a bit like Armco. They may not be Armco barriers, we understand that, but it is the generic term. Mark is desperately finding, I would think, getting up towards 70, but probably not for a few years. Cars now are violently physical,
especially the LMP cars. You really do need to have quite a bit of fitness to drive these cars, and to keep your mind on the game as well. You need to be very fit so that you aren't getting very tired. I think that's a big part of 24-hour racing, is that when your body is tired, your mind needs to still be fresh so that you don't start to make mistakes. And what people don't realize is how physical these cars really are. You know, even though you have the power steering, you reach a certain level of G-force and the power steering becomes sort of nondescript. It's not really there anymore, and these cars are reaching up to 4 Gs in an LMP1 car. That's about the same as an F1 car, not far off.
And it's also the relentless mental strain of constantly weaving your way through traffic, or having traffic constantly weaving its way past you, or both, if you're in, the top GTs or the LMP2 cars, plus trying to pick your way through nighttime, plus just the endless hours of battering your brain gets. And no matter how much adrenaline you've got keeping you sharp, and it is the adrenaline that keeps your synapses firing, again, if your body can't take it, it drags your brain. Like your kids, it makes your brain dull. Your body can't take it.
Yeah, I'm going to propose to Jacques Nicolet as the oldest driver here.
In the field.
57 years old. The man from Monaco. He owns the... No, you're telling me...
No, I disagree.
Right, that was my proposal.
A driver who's over 60. I can't remember his name, but he's in the Murphy Prototypes car.
Oh, yes, he is.
And he is over 60. Yes, that's the one.
Indeed.
Our 3-time spinning in one lap friend.
I've got to say, if you're starting at 62, I would go and get yourself a nice 1-litre Mini 7 and go out and have a lot of fun racing people who are also paying for it themselves and who won't have you off into the boonies at the very possible moment. Realistically, if you're 62 years old, male or female, driving enough, unless you're very, very wealthy, to get your license up to Le Mans standards is going to be very tough, particularly if you've not got racing cars and history in them already. So, yeah, go out and have fun club racing and enjoy us by coming down and watch Le Mans.
Yes, of course, because in order to race at Le Mans, you do require an international B license. When you start racing, you start with a national B and have to work your way up through. So it's not something you could just jump into and say, right, I'm going to go and race at Le Mans. You do need to do enough races to acquire your international B license, and then to carry on keeping that license, you must race at an international race per year and prove that you've done it.
So, Mark Patterson, 61 years old, And a second place goes to Jacques Nicolet at 57 years
Yeah,
old.
a win.
But interestingly, both of them driving prototype cars, not the easier option GT cars.
Yeah, but lots more fun.
42 car, and then this is Luca Ordonez in the Grieves Zytek. This is one of the chosen cars. We've got the two Morgans and this car, the Nissan Academy cars, as the three factory supported Nismo cars. And Luca Ordonez, of course, the first winner of the GT Academy, and made the jump from PlayStation Gamer straight into Le Mans, and has really done a great job, hasn't he?
Straight into Le Mans and onto the podium, in fact, finishing second in 2011. A fantastic effort, and a really great guy. I really enjoyed meeting Lucas when I was working on the US GT Academy. He's very, very professional. He always has been, and literally just got into a car straight off the video game and knew how to pedal it. It was one of those very rare people, similar to his co-driver, Jan Mardenborough, who's done the same. Terribly impressive. Oh, God, in a very tight shave there with the Porsche. I think the Porsche was trying to avoid the gravel and just swung out where he wasn't expecting him to.
Well, that's Gianluca Roda, who didn't avoid the gravel just down here in the S's. We saw him a few laps ago, beached in the gravel. He was dragged out and changed there for the number 51 AF Corsa Ferrari drivers. Jimmy Bruni gets out. Giancarlo Fisichella was in, so he gets out. Is that Jimmy Bruni getting in? No, it's Matteo Malicello, the third driver in the team. Two of those three, Bruni and Fisichella, won the GT class last year in the GT Pro. Now, again, lots of first-time viewers, so we'll bear with us if we go over a few of these things. GT cars, this is a GT car. It looks like a car. GT Gran Turismo. Okay, so it is basically a supercar, a road-going supercar. So Ferrari, Lamborghini, BMW M3s, Audi R8s, R10s, well, not R10s yet, but they'll come, I'm sure. Aston Martins, that sort of thing. Things that look like cars. The two prototype classes, LMP for Le Mans Prototype 1 and 2, are purpose-built racing cars, open or closed, and they are the quicker cars on the track.
stand où l'on retrouve le Modeste. Oui, vous parliez de la Ferrari 458 italienne, numéro 51, pardon. Et voilà, nous sommes avec Jimmy, alias plutôt John Maria, Jimmy
Welcome out to Eurosport's live coverage of the 2013 Le Mans 24 Hours. Liz Halliday taking a break, and Martin Haven, Mark Hull, joined by Neville Hay. Good evening, Neville.
Evening. The voice of the night again.
Just quickly, yes, the night watchers are with us. Yeah. Just quickly, talking about brakes, question from a first-time Le Mans fan. Say, what do drivers do about toilet breaks? Do they go when they're not in the car? Well, yes, that is devoutly to be hoped, bearing in mind they've got to share it for 24 hours with two theoretical colleagues. So, yes, I mean, they're not in there all day and all night, and they like you tell your kids, go before they leave home.
There have been faultless drivers in the past, but we won't go into it.
Well, no, no, but their teammates had to.
Exactly.
So yes, in cases of extreme physical unwellness, drivers have vomited in their helmets and kept driving before, and have been very, very unwell in their race suits and kept driving before. But that is extraordinarily... I mean, these drivers are, when they're in the car, brutalized by the G-forces and the forces of the car and the heat and the vibration and everything else to a phenomenal extent. They are very, very fit athletes indeed. They spend all their lives when they're not driving physically training their bodies, bicycles and gyms and swims and all the other stuff. And they are, especially in the factory teams, really thoroughly looked after by physios and especially by dietitians and nutritionists who make sure that they eat, they drink, they hydrate, they get all the right stuff. And so hopefully they don't suddenly halfway down go, are we there yet? I need to stop at the services. Because that doesn't really help you win races like Le Mans.
Yeah, it's a totally different ball game for those of you who were perhaps a little bit earlier on looking at the historic racing. It's totally different nowadays. Drivers really do have to be an awful lot fitter. One of the things, of course, the physical strain is different. It's not a question of physical strength, it's physical strain. The G-forces and everything else as well can cause you an awful lot of problems if you're not fit. And that's one of course the age things that was brought up a few minutes ago. Although we have had drivers, in fact I recall it was a German driver, he was well over 60, and I seem to recall he had an accident, but that's neither here nor there.
Well, lots of drivers have accidents, whether they're 16 or 60, so that's not entirely unexpected. Several people asking about the Delta Wing that of course raced here last year, but as we have now got 14 hours remaining, that means we've got to carry the one and 10 hours in the books, and the sole healthy Audi is still our race leader. For those of you who haven't been with us from the beginning, Audi 1, 2, 3 on the grid, had a bit of a trouble in the early wet going with the Toyotas catching right up, and then two Audis had problems. Toyota now second and third. LMP2 leader is now in 8th place overall, and the recovering number 1 Audi, which had a crank sensor changed in around 20 minutes, tell that to your Audi dealer, is now back up into 15th place among the LMP2 cars. GTE Pro leader is the Aston Martin Vantage V8 99 car rather, being driven by Rob Bell at the moment. It's Aston Porsche, and then trailing behind Chevrolet, ahead now of the two Ferraris. First of the Corvettes of Tommy Milner, and in the orange light and orange numbered cars, the GTE AM class, where you're only allowed one professional driver. It is the number 55 Ferrari. Lorenzo Carzè currently leading. Was Porsche first and second in class last hour. Ferrari haven't suddenly grown a spurt of speed, but with pit stops chopping and changing the order, currently the Ferrari being shown in front in that class. So there's been a couple of changes. It was Patrick Dempsey's Ferrari that led after the 88. Patrick Dempsey's Ferrari led after the 88. Porsche led after the 88 Porsche of Gianluca Roda went off. But currently, after a pit stop, he's dropped down to third in that class. And for those, again, who were not watching earlier today, the first retirement in the race was the 95 Aston Martin, an all-Danish crewed entry for Gulf Racing Aston Martin in the GT AM class. And that accident tragically claimed the life of its driver, Alan Simonson. So with a very heavy heart and at the bequest of his family, the Aston Martin team are continuing to race on in his memory. So the ticker will run across the top of the screen, shows you the driver that's currently in the car with its position. The little red bars show which its class is, and the red ones are for LMP1. Little blue bars will appear in a moment. Those will be your LMP2 cars. Little green bars show that they're in the GTE Pro class, and little orange bars show that they're in the GTE AM class. If you've got a favourite driver, you should be able to find them there, or if not, you can go to lemans.org and find them on the live timing, assuming that, like all the other internet here at Le Mans, that hasn't fallen over. Here's a GTE AM car. GT cars, Damien Faulkner joins us again. Damien, GT cars basically look like cars, and the prototypes like this one, second in the LMP2 class, basically don't. They're purpose-built just for going racing.
Yeah, thanks, Martin. Good to be back again. It's cold out there.
It is, isn't it? Yeah. That's why we're all huddling in the booth now, despite the wretched aircon.
Yeah, I mean, basically, the GT cars have to, there's a lot of regulations. I mean, they effectively, they have to look like a road car. There's lots of things. I mean, they're obviously homologated into a racing spec for racing here, with lots of different changes. But you know, even things like the dashboard, I was reading, it really has to sort of emulate what a dashboard looks like in that particular car.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice because in one way you've got the best of both worlds there. You've got, you know, the prototypes that are the real sort of, you know, the cars that are built for maximum performance, and then you've got the GT cars that most of us can identify with something we see on the road, not necessarily something we drive on the road, maybe.
Even occasionally.
Not me, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's the GT class is road-going supercars, and they start with a production body shell. You don't necessarily keep much of the production grubby bits, but the engine must be production-based. It must have the same cylinder block, for instance, and a lot of the other components must be very similar to the production engine in terms of suspension, brakes, gearbox, and so on.
Fuel as well.
They have to be built for this, indeed, fuel as well. And that there's another point. You see, now we don't have a spec tyre here at Le Mans, but we do have fuel controlled and supplied by the manufacturer. So even in the wildest excesses of Formula One's turbo era, where they were making fuel out of very, very nasty stuff indeed, it's essentially a pump fuel that is used here at Le Mans. And Neville, the prototypes, you start with, I was going to say a blank piece of paper, but obviously it's a blank computer screen and a rule book, and you basically draw what you want, and there's no differentiation between the two classes as to whether you have a lid on it or not. You can, at the moment, design open or closed cars to suit your will.
Yes, there seems to be sort of a move towards closed cars again, having had a move towards open cars a year or two back. Of course, this race started out really as a race for road cars. There's no question about that. Prototypes were added, and there are a lot of people feel that perhaps, how can I put it, that they've stretched the regulations a little bit too far in some areas. It's a debatable thing. I mean, I've heard an awful lot of people talking about why don't they do this, why don't they do that. Well, I think there's an old adage, you know, if it fixed, why if it works, why fix it?
Exactly, if it ain't broke.
Yeah.
And that's very much the way the ACO were. I mean, they've always had, for instance, when in the, you know, one of the first big eras of sports car racing, when you had Porsche 917s versus GT40s, the sort of Steve McQueen Le Mans film era, those were all purpose-built specials, and you had things like MGBs and you know, little Lotuses and so on also racing, which were actually not that far different from a road car, Triumph TR3s and all that sort of stuff. So you've always had that sort of mixture of the hyper-exotic, which really gets people's pulses racing. And let's face it, Le Mans with Steve McQueen, if they're all in MGBs, maybe not quite the same cinematography appeal. I don't know. It's just me.
Well, you know, there was this sort of thing. You've got to make 50, and I do recall that various manufacturers went out and made 50.
Well, nowadays you have to make one. If you want to race one, you make one.
Yeah.
Here's a question. In 1923, in the inaugural race here, how many laps do you think were completed?
I'm not looking at the program.
Bearing in mind, it's 1923, where your average car would be really doing well to be doing 65 flat out. They were on gravel roads, narrow gravel roads, which were designed for horses and carts, not for motorized vehicles. 123 laps in 24 hours.
Laps.
Do you know what? That's not bad.
It'd be about 1,250, 1,300 miles, because it was a longer circuit then, because it went all the way down to Pontoon
track. Well, and that's the other thing, is that they were in this area, and they went another couple of miles into town to the Ponier hairpin.
I'm sorry, it was 128.
128
laps. Eight laps more than what they managed the following year in 1924.
Probably rained more. But again, right from the very word go, it was about proving car manufacturers were not out to kill you with these newfangled contraptions. And still the reason Toyota is here and the reason Audi is here is to prove that they are good at making cars. Audi are proving that they're good at making diesels that aren't nasty, rattly, horrible, smelly things, but are fast, comfortable in road car terms, and you know, sporty cars with diesel engines. That's why they're racing diesels. And of course, what they learn here about sipping fuel while producing power makes their road car diesels so much better as well. It all knocks on. Steel wheels, proper pneumatic tyres, proper valves, disc brakes, you know, any number of different things.
No smoke.
No smoke. And any number of different things were created here.
You had to run with the hood up as well.
For the first hour of the race.
First hour of the race.
And if it blew off, you darn well had to stop and
pick it up, put it back on again. Exactly. If you wanted to repair it, you had to repair it with the tools and the spares on the car.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
And still, cars carry a limited toolkit, and still drivers are taken to the factory and taught how to use it and what they can do with it, because if the car stops out on track, unless, as in years gone by, you seem to have found some tools in the grass by that barrier.
That has happened.
No,
and people have been disqualified for it.
Absolutely not.
I think nowadays you would need to find a laptop to get the car going again.
No, absolutely. And several data engineers. Oh, there seems to be a Pratt perch right here full of people with laptops. How very convenient. But I mean, there's some great YouTube, possibly still on YouTube, footage of David Leslie when he was racing in one of the C2 cars, or one of the C1 cars, either an Aston Martin or a Cos, can't remember, taking the rear bodywork off, overall strapped down to his race, covered in grease, trying to fix this damn thing. I mean, he started out as a BMC engineer. He you know, still could fix pretty much anything mechanical, just like his son Graham is doing now, disappointingly for the 95 car, which is no longer in the race. But David, stripped to the waist, trying to fix this car in sweltering heat, covered in sweat and grease, and just for hours fighting to get the damn thing to run so we can get it back to the pits. Because once you've spent a year getting here, you don't want to give up in 5 minutes, and none of these guys are going to give up unless they're beaten out of the race.
What a man, the great David Leslie, killed sadly in an air crash, but one of the people who I really love talking to, because it's said of a lot of drivers that they know what they do, and of others that they think they know what they do. Well, actually, David actually knew what he was doing in a car.
Yeah.
He just didn't think he did.
Yeah.
We were talking about silly things. When I was a little boy, the first book I had was Full Throttle by Sir Henry Birkin, and there he had a co-driver who literally ran to the pits and ran back to the car. This wasn't a young guy, he was about 47 years old, Frenchman called Jean Chessin, with the bits to repair it. Remarkable.
That used to happen. A riding mechanic would be the guy that went off and got stuff, and yeah. A number of times mechanics would run, mind you, 2 miles or more back to the pits. We've run out of fuel. Here it is. What? Yes, off you go. Because the mechanic had to run back with the fuel, or the parts, or the tyre, or whatever was required to keep the car in the race.
That's exactly what happened.
Easy life now. They're not allowed to leave the pits. Whoa, hang on. This is our GTE.
It doesn't want to know, does
Fourth-place
it?
car. You know, Bergmeister took 3 goes to fire it up.
No, that was actually, I think, we're seeing the onboard there. I think that was the wheel guns tightening the wheels.
You may well be right, yes.
Yeah, it was the guns, wasn't it?
Noise and vibration, yes, throwing me a curveball. Good spot. You see, that's why we have racing drivers. They see and understand things we've got no clue about.
I just got another tweet here from David, who has asked me to say hello to his daughter Marianne. She's watching her first 24 hours of Le Mans. So hello, hi.
Get to bed.
And I have a second one here from a guy who says, have you noticed the air intake on the Toyotas? He thinks that the 7 has a different air intake from the 8.
Stop.
I haven't noticed.
Stop with the air intakes on the Toyotas. A, we hadn't noticed, and B, we have not yet found out if they're different, and if so, why. Don't know. The two
I thought
cars,
you'd have an explanation for that.
the two cars,
You do.
No, I thought Martin was.
the two cars are both new cars. They're both in the same aerodynamic specification as we understand it. I have no idea why they would not be identical, and if they're not identical, is it just a visual trick because one's got different colors on to make it look different? I don't know. Somebody did ask me which of the Audis are in Le Mans spec. I'm thinking probably all 3 of them.
Yes, yes.
Team radio.
I must say, good evening.
Marcel, front tyres okay. Front tyres okay.
Still have this kind of strange vibration coming from the front.
Well, this is Le Mans. Everything went a little bit quiet. I'm not quite sure why, but anyway, we're back again with still no major change except a silence which has come back to us, and all is well. The Christensen Audi still very much in the lead. My regards to the Demon Barber of Worcester. And the interesting thing has got to be that the Toyotas are still there. I think everybody felt that by now, Damien, that we were not going to have the Toyotas sort of quite so close, and it's all worked out totally different to the way we thought, I think.
Yeah, and especially after last year with the unreliability as well, and then of course leading into this whole weekend with the lack of pace from them, even relative to last year, because they were quite fast last year. In fact, they led the race, didn't they?
Yeah.
But they both broke, and of course then, you know, we're used to seeing such sort of bulletproof reliability from the Audi, and you know, I had mentioned earlier that I thought they were on cruise control.
Well, they seemed to get it all wrong, didn't they? This race, when we were looking at practice, we looked at it and you thought, heavens, what's gone wrong here? It wasn't brilliant at Spa either. And you sort of thought, well, have they misjudged it? But this is actually quite an interesting race, because I think the Audis are quicker, But there is this fuel question, and as the lady said, it ain't over till it's over.
Well, that's the thing, you know, it's 24 hours, of course, isn't it? And it's a challenge, so to finish first you have to finish. And
very, very much so.
As we can see, anything can happen in a race like this.
Yep. It's interesting that I think we've all gone through and explained that you've got the red marking the cars in one class, blue and green, so it's very easy to see because you've got, in fact, you can see the class leader quite easily, and we're joined. Goodness, this is Carlton. It's very nice to see you. You've been very quiet.
Yes, well, yes, finally joined you at 1:20 in the morning. Yeah, looking for you to come forward to your company. It is the Up All Night Club, of course, and we have Mr. Licorice, as he's known, Neville Hay, the most magnificent voice in motorsport, joining us.
Kind of you to say so.
Well, yes, well, you know, the truth often hurts, but in this case, I'm sure it's rather pleasant. And Damien Faulkner as well. Guys, it's that time of the night where suddenly we still haven't even reached the halfway stage, and it just gives you a sense of how this race is quantified and how it stacks up. It is quite remarkable.
It's crazy. It is. It's a crazy long event.
It's a fascination, isn't it? You know, I've been coming to Le Mans for a very long time, and I don't know why it is. It's always the night session that fascinated me more than anything else, because everybody says, well, nothing happens much during the night, they just go round and round. But actually, it does happen, apart from the fact that people go quite quickly. I mean, we're watching people going within 2 or 3 seconds of lap record during the night, but then you get this question when the dawn begins to break, and you get very often a bit of mist and things like this. And
get a flag, 77 cars taking a spin.
In the middle of that, yes, number 77, the Porsche. This is the Dempsey. I think it's Dempsey driving it too, isn't it?
Brief check.
Yes, it is. Dempsey driving it.
Second and fast.
He's stuck in a funny place.
Well, it's a dangerous place as well.
Yeah,
if you can't get
I don't
it
think
going,
he likes it. I don't think anybody else would.
No.
He's got a problem there because everything's flashing, but as they say, there's nobody home. So I think there could be some help there somewhere. Let's see what happened. Did he get clipped then?
Yes, he did.
I thought he got clipped. Yep.
Yeah, that's a mad spin.
That is a crazy spin.
Well, he's trying to restart it. The marshals can't reach him at the moment. It's a very dangerous position, and if it stays there, then we may well have to have the truck to come and help him out.
Could very well see
to be honest, if it's a safety issue, then we may just get a safety car.
He's probably just flooded the engine there or something. I'm sure the team will be on the radio telling him to put his foot flat in the throttle.
Yeah. To be fair, he's just off the racing line, but he can't move, and it's a dangerous situation to be in.
There was another car involved. I didn't see who it was.
No, I didn't.
It was a prototype just there in front of him or something. So yeah, that was. But his tyres will be, I would imagine, Fred Flintstone.
There we are. Still stopped on track. We can't see it at the moment. Incidentally, most of the pictures this evening will be on board. And has he got going? Is that what we're looking at right now?
No, we're in a different place.
Just to let you know, that there he is. He has indeed got going. The 77 car is back and underway, so he clearly caught it in the end. Flooded engine, as you were saying, Nev, and back and underway, which is great. Last thing we wanted was another hiatus. We've had too many of those already today.
Yeah.
He's dropped one place as well to third, hasn't he? So
yeah, I'd like to know exactly how that all started and finished. We might get a replay, you never know. But it's a bit late for that.
Do you know what? He is very much an actor who's become a racing driver. And, you know, all credit to him. He's worked extraordinarily hard to actually reach that level, and he's delivering it right now. Incidentally, if you'd like to get in touch with us this evening, Damien Faulkner and myself, Carlton Kirby, are indeed on Twitter, and we'll be delighted to answer your questions. I know a few of you often like to join the Up All Night Club. Neville, are you on Twitter?
No. Too lazy, I think.
Well,
but if you want me, if you talk to any of the others, they'll sort of wake me up or something.
We'll pass on your good tidings.
Yeah.
A little bit later on, we'll have Chris Parsons as well, who knows so much history about Le Mans. What he doesn't know is not worth knowing. We're down with the 26 car right now. Not sure what the issue is.
No, I'm not quite sure. Incidentally, that it's not quite as easy to be thought, is it? Because Is that a tire? I think he's got a brake problem, actually.
Well, the G-Drive boys have had their issues all evening, but then again, that's exactly what you've got to deal with. Tom Christensen, incidentally, has the fastest lap so far in this 90th Le Mans. Lap 86 it was when he posted a 3:23.2. He's going around at the moment having about 4.5 seconds slower than that pace. Neville, normally at this time of night, when the air density changes, track temperature alters as well, often you get some pretty quick times, but the visibility also plays a part.
Yeah, as we were saying, at the moment it's nice and clear. We've been told there might be a bit of mist around about dawn. Have you come across that in your experience?
I have, yeah, but I wasn't on the racetrack at the time.
It's not nice, is it?
On the beach.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not nice, you know. I mean, it really isn't. And
actually, Daytona this year was I wasn't driving, but my teammate was in at the time, and it was actually
we've got
yellow
somebody
flag
else
for a long time.
off and in trouble.
One of the Corvettes.
Yes, it's the Corvette again.
Can't quite see. We're on CCTV cameras, by the way. It's the 70 car. Yes, this is McNeil is on board. It's the AM class, and unfortunately, occasionally when we get into the night time, a lot of drivers are actually found out, and it looks like that's the case right now. He's trying to get underway, but I think this is going to be beached. He may well need assistance.
I think that's going to need assistance because he's awfully close to the wall, isn't he, as well?
Yeah. Incidentally,
not going anywhere forwards. He's got to go backwards, and if he does that, he'll dig in. So I think it's help.
Yes, exactly. I know we've had a fatality on this year's race, and of course, our thoughts very much with the family. And yes, Alan Simonsen, extraordinarily unlucky to have had an accident in a place where the Armco was abutting a tree, is what we're hearing. So there was no give in the Armco, essentially. 1 metre more or 1 metre less, and it would have been fine. But questions will be asked, of course, and safety is absolutely primary here. And I imagine there may well be some tree clearance away from the Armco, if that proves to be the case. A lot of rumours at the moment, but that one is from a decent source, and so we assume that it has some truth in it. If it is the case, then you know, amendments will have to be made.
It's a very different situation in at this time in the world in 2013 to, shall we say, a matter of 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago here at Le Mans, and it is a comparative rarity, and it is sad. And I think all of our thoughts go with the family, and I think it was a very brave decision on their part to say, no, go on, this is what he would have wanted, and I'm sure it is.
I think so, yeah, and I mean, it looks like, you know, these guys are doing him proud, and it would be a very emotional victory, wouldn't it? I know we're still 13.5 hours to go, but...
Yep.
Well, it's Rob Bell that's leading the GT Pro class for Aston Martin at the moment. They're 1 and 3 with Darren Turner running in 3rd place behind Mark Lieb's Porsche as we speak. It would be a great tribute to them. Essentially what they've said is the best tribute to him is to go and win it on his behalf. Believe me, there will be plenty of tears whether they win or not at the end of this. I think everyone's just very much holding themselves together. And Alan Simonsen sadly died here at Le Mans earlier on today. We're going to take ourselves a commercial break, and we'll be back back with the action. Most of it on board, which I know a lot of you love, because a lot of the cameras further deep down on the course have been closed down at the side of the road. So more on boards to come. Welcome back. You're looking at the 70 car. Now, it may well have been on an in-lap, low on fuel when he lost it. And as a result, it looks like he's out of fuel due to, I presume, the burn that he's used trying to get out of the gravel trap. That's what we're assuming anyway. And he is on pit road right now, as you can see, and it's very much not even 1 horsepower as we go now.
Yeah, I think it looks actually as if he might have some electrical problems as well, because there are no lights at all. They were on, they're now completely off. So there may be a little bit more to it than meets the eye.
Damon?
Well, we can speculate, but we're probably going to find out what's going on here shortly. Could have been a driver change. Maybe he was preparing himself. I don't know.
Yeah, never know.